Hello, fellow humans. Okay. There's a lovely lady who's been joining us for our 30-day reboot cortices technique that we've been doing, which today is day 15. And she messaged me to mention this experience that she'd had since Saturday. Now, sometimes this experience can be caused, or it's an offshoot from doing the cortices technique, because things are realigning themselves, things are finding a better way to actually work and function, things are opening up. And so it could be that what she's experiencing is because of the cortices technique. It's moving a lot of stuff around for her. And it could be because there's some other things accumulated with that and going on. What she noticed was that she had a blockage of the ears, or it feels like that the ears were a little bit blocked, sort of underwater, things were muffled. Now, there's a lot of things that happen when you do cortices, and a few of them we haven't talked about yet because we're sort of restricted as to how much we can talk about every single day. I don't want to overwhelm you with information. But there is, as she mentioned, the brow chakra and also the crown chakra. And quite often when those chakras are going through a realignment, rebalancing, when they're improving their natural function, it can bring up things like the blockage of the ears. And it can also bring up some other things. So my feeling, because I never know what I'm going to talk about when I come in to do these lives in the morning, I just sort of really follow my instincts as to what comes up for me. What's come up for me this morning is that I want to talk about a part that resides within the brain called the SB Junction. Now, for those of you who have done the Access, especially the Access for Animals program, then you'll know that the SB Junction is a technique that we do, and it is the second one. Now, this SB Junction, it sits like a butterfly structure through the brain here. It has moving parts. So as you breathe, it is meant to go through this beautiful expansion and contraction process. What happens with this SB junction a lot, not just with animals because it's part of the animal protocol, but with people as well, is that this SB junction can get jammed. It can get jammed in a down position, and it also can get jammed in an up position. Now, this is very, very common for babies that are just born. Quite often babies have jammed SB junctions. One of the reasons why it can get jammed in a down position for us and also for animals is if we've had a knock to the head and it bangs our head, and that will cause the SB junction to jam. Another thing with that is that the SB junction can get in a jammed up position. I just don't want to go into too much information. The whole junction can sort of like jam up, and one of the biggest reasons for that is from startled reflex. You know, if you've, especially with horses, you'll see them do it a lot where they catch their breath like that. Quite often when it goes into startle mode, it jams up and then it doesn't release. And that can be quite common in women, say, who are perimenopausal going into menopause, because it involves other factors in the brain around the hypothalamus, because there's that big startle reflex. That can all be quite entangled. So it doesn't really matter what it is. Every time you're doing cortices, you're seeking to improve the function and whatever is not working so well there. And my feeling today was not only for this lady that's having a problem with her ears, but I felt like we could tap out our cortices and focus on the SB junction at the same time. Now, if you want to Google an image of that and check it out, by all means do that, because especially if you're a kinetic learner, you might get a very good sense of where it sits within you, and also it adds to that whole visual process. Some of the common things that come up for people who have blocked SB junctions is this blockage of the ears. Also restriction around the neck, a feeling of pressure through the head, tension, headaches, and depression are absolutely huge. And I've seen this a lot over the years where chronic long-term depression can be shifted relatively easily, depending on the factors. It won't happen for everybody, but if the SB junction is a major causative factor of depression in a person, the moment you release that SB junction, it can change a person's life, an adult's life as well, if they've suffering depression, because they get depression the same as what people do. So I'm going to be focusing today on this SB junction as I tap out my own cortices. And quite often what you'll notice is popping of the ears. You might notice some different tone changes. So you might be able to hear differently out of one ear. It might become super sharp, super loud in one ear as it's recalibrating itself. You might notice some warmth or some general feelings that you're not usually used to getting in the ears there. So it can come up differently for everybody depending on what your needs are. Another common reaction while I think of it is yawning. Yawning is super strongly indicated that there's something going on with the SB junction, whether it is blocked or whether it's in a process of releasing. Quite often that's the innate wisdom's way of trying to get it to unblock. So if you're one of those people that yawns but you stifle your yawn, so you don't let yourself go into a big yawn, I actually would encourage you to really go for it. If you want to yawn, just put yourself into it and really allow that process to go, because quite often if you do a really big, great yawn, it'll actually reset itself and the SB junction will go back into a state of rest and relax. Okay, first hand position. So our attention is on the brain. Our intention is that we're improving communication and circulation within the brain. Now, I also have a soft focus on this SB junction inside the head, and at resting, relaxing, as I take nice big deep breaths in and out, it does as well. So I'm tapping over all three brains. Move your hand up to the next hand position. The head brain, the heart brain, and the gut brain, which is about an inch above the belly button. To the third hand position. You can tap over the top of your hand when you get to this spot. Exaggerated breathing when we do this technique. Next hand position. Remember, when you're tapping over the top of the head brain, you've got to have a nice wide open hand so that you're connecting across both left hand side of the head. Right around to the front of the eyebrows. We'll do at least 2 full big deep breaths and cycles here. Okay, so hands are on the side of the brain. A couple of nice big deep breaths in and out. You're going to take one hand away and tap it in over head brain, heart brain, gut brain, whatever combination you feel like you need to do. When you're doing cortices, if you're noticing a particular issue going on in the body, and I'll talk about this more in other lives because it's a big deal. If you're noticing a particular issue going in the body, it does help for when you tap out cortices to be focusing on that area. So say with this lady, she's noticed that she's got some blockage of the ears. When you tap out cortices, your intention would be that you're tapping out cortices to the blockage of the ears. And then just watch and observe what happens with that, because quite often you'll notice a nice shift, okay? Beautiful. I'm going to get going. Enjoy your day, and if you've got any questions, comments, feedback, leave them in the comments there, and I'll get to them. Bye.